Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for checking out the content. As always, I am the sports judge. Karl-Anthony Towns has been the talk of the town after the Minnesota Timberwolves embarrassing Game 5 loss. Now, obviously, the Timberwolves had a very successful season and went further than a lot of people had them going, and they should celebrate that. The NBA offseason storyline that we can't ignore is the fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves need to make an identity trade. That trade is going to be Karl-Anthony Towns. If they want to have a shot at the NBA Finals next season, they should explore trading Karl-Anthony Towns this summer. And with how poorly he played in the conference finals, the trade rumors are surely heating up. One thing that bothers me with Cat, for a man of his size, is that he's a big man who settles for way too many threes and long jumpers. You're a big man. You're 7 foot tall, 7 feet tall, and you park yourself outside. Instead, you're trying to be Steph Curry, take it upon yourself to shoot a bevy of threes and brick every time. That to me sort of echoes the national sentiment among a lot of people. You folks in Minnesota are calling him out, and for good reason. He's the guy you certainly wouldn't mind seeing get traded. I would not be surprised if we hear Karl-Anthony Towns for Kevin Durant, trade rumors flying around, because right now he's not doing much for you. And I think a great way to measure players is playoff success, playoff numbers. And I'm not speaking in terms of career numbers. I want to know, what can you do for me now? What have you done for me lately? And lately, we've seen it with our own set of eyes that Cat is useless. The bottom line is, Cat never uses his size to his advantage. That's sort of the problem. It's incomprehensible to me. He settles for jumpers when he's the biggest guy on the court. And the nature of his play is even more bottomsome because he's 28 years old in his prime. Cat, there's always been question marks, in my opinion, about how good he can be. I don't think he can. I don't think he can be, but nevertheless, he has the size, shot making ability to shoot over smaller defenders, just not all the time. The first 3 games against Dallas, he shot 3 of 22 from 3. This was a guy who very well convinced himself that he is the greatest big man shooter of all time. That's what he said. I love the confidence, but no, you're not. It was easy to convince himself. So I felt like a lot of times he was out there trying to prove that he can shoot and not do what needed to be done to put his team in the best position to win. When I watch him out there, I'd be like, man, this dude right here is trying to prove to everyone that he can shoot. Like, here we are again talking about Karl-Anthony, who has run out of excuses. This is something many people kind of knew would happen anyway, because for one, he's genuinely the one player in the league who has consistent issues with foul trouble. You were in a position to reach a level of success that you've never reached before, so getting knocked out in the Western Conference Finals certainly hurts. It's not all on Anthony Edwards. It does feel like when are things going to start to click for Karl-Anthony Towns? Of course, it's easy to look at Edwards and place most of the blame on him simply because he was the one doing all the talking. He's the leader and arguably the next face of the league. For him, it's expected. He's only 22. That's normal. Since we like to compare him to the GOAT, Michael Jordan lost in the conference finals twice before breaking through in year 7. Kobe was swept by the Jazz, airballs in his first conference finals. Luka lost in his first conference finals as well. When you're playing alongside a big man like Karl-Anthony Towns, who was fantastic game 7 against the Nuggets defending Nikola Jokic, um, a lot is expected of your teammate to help you pull through. But since then, Karl-Anthony Towns has been an absolute no-show. He's gone missing, nowhere to be found. We are now several years into the process, and still he's not dominating the way he should be. It doesn't really seem like he's going to toughen up as a player anytime soon. If we go back and look at the Western Conference Finals where he struggled, Cat lacked assertiveness, was passive, and looked soft at times. The biggest talking point is Karl-Anthony Towns going into this offseason. Will the Timberwolves move on from him? Will they listen to offers and finally get a deal done? And if so, who? He has a terrible contract that nobody wants. I'm not a fan of his style of play, but I do think he has value, and that another team in this league can definitely use his services. But where? Cat should have been dominating PJ Washington, crashing the boards. Washington is 6'7", and Cat is a 7-foot big man. Instead, it was PJ Washington who made him look bad, as he did a terrific job guarding Cat. Karl-Anthony Towns shot a horrendous 38% from the field in the conference finals, a minus 16 plus minus, benched for Naz Reid to close out game 2 with horrible defense. I wouldn't pay him a super max, not after the way he performed in the conference finals. Can you afford to pay someone like Cat a super max? I don't think they can. Minnesota could and should trade Towns for cap relief over the summer. And at some point, we have to question his effort and impact if he's not producing to leave a long-lasting impact on the team to make a deep postseason run, because we're at a stage of his career where he's almost 30. And you can slice it up a number of ways, but one of the biggest reasons the Timberwolves lost that series was because Karl-Anthony Towns really didn't provide much on either end of the floor. What a dismal effort it was from him. What would a trade even look like? How bad do the Knicks want to upgrade on Julius Randle? It's hard to see an offseason where the Knicks aren't in play for Cat, a scenario in which Minnesota swaps Towns for Randle along with some draft capital. I think you have to consider Miami a team that could be open to landing Towns and pairing him with Jimmy Butler. But here's the thing with that. The Towns and Butler pairing didn't work in Minnesota. New Orleans could swap Ingram for Towns, but the Pelicans, like the Timberwolves, are trying to save money rather than spend it. I really like the Hawks to go all in a potential 3-team trade and pair DeJounte Murray with Towns. If you have to trade him and can't afford to keep him around, then trade him. Anthony Edwards' salary jumps to $42 million because he made All NBA. Cat Supermax kicks in at $49 million. Rudy Gobert will make $44 million. So 3 players are owed about $135 million. Add in the other 7 guys on contract and fill in the rest of the roster, it's $200 million. One of the most expensive teams in NBA history. And with the new CBA, it was designed to break up teams like the Timberwolves. It makes signing new players hard, or doing trades almost impossible. The luxury tax is insane. So with that being said, the obvious odd man out is Karl-Anthony Towns. Dump his $49 million and you clear a lot of cap space, and you have Naz Reid. The way he played, made me wonder why he wasn't getting way more minutes than Cat. I felt too many times the Wolves went away from Nas Reed, who really couldn't maximize his talent, and when he did, he was sensational on the floor, but he couldn't really maximize his talent because of Cat's presence, which turned out to be a total waste. um, he was easily better than Cat when he was on the floor. Karl-Anthony Towns is definitely not worth signing a 4-year, 224 million super max extension with the Timberwolves. Um, it was a terrible decision that is more evident now. Cat is not someone you will miss if you decide to trade him. I think now is a good time to trade him. Thanks for watching, everyone. Really appreciate the love and support. Thanks for checking out my content. Love it so much. Appreciate y'all. I'll check in with you guys sometime later today. I'll have more content as always. Take care. Peace out, everyone.